We're always told to go out and find our motivation if we want to achieve something big. But what if I told you that very idea is actually what's holding you back? Today, we're going to talk about a much more powerful way to think, the discipline standard. Let's dive in. So, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been there, just waiting, staring at your workout clothes, at a blank document, just hoping that some magical bolt of inspiration is going to strike you and get you moving? Yeah, we've all been there. But waiting? That might be the biggest trap of all. And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? This whole idea that there's some perfect moment when we'll feel ready is a total myth. That passive approach, just waiting for a feeling to show up, that's how our biggest goals just slowly and quietly die. It is time for a completely different strategy. Okay, so to build that new strategy, first we have to tear down a huge lie that we've all been sold. And that is the motivation myth. We're taught to chase it, to rely on it. But as you're about to see, motivation might just be the most unreliable partner you could ever have. All right, just look at this breakdown. Motivation, it's a feeling. It's fleeting. It's that fair weather friend who's all excited to hang out when the sun is shining, but disappears the second it starts to rain. But discipline? That's totally different. It's not a feeling, it's a standard you set for yourself. It's a lifestyle. It's the one thing that shows up, especially when it's hard. So if motivation is the problem, then what's the answer? We have to build our lives around a totally new core principle, the discipline standard. This is all about shifting your entire personal operating system, moving from one that runs on random chance to one that runs on deliberate choice. Let's be crystal clear about what self-discipline actually is. This isn't about punishing yourself or being miserable. Not at all. It's a virtue. It's simply about deciding who you want to become, setting the standards for that person, and then you just live up to them. And here's the most important part. Your mood doesn't get a vote. It doesn't matter if you feel like it. And here's a wild truth that might flip how you see things. We are not designed for a life of constant comfort. We are literally built for challenge. The best, most positive emotions we feel, that sense of value and pride, it doesn't come from things being easy. It comes from the uphill climb, from pushing against something hard. Real satisfaction isn't found on the couch. It's earned in the struggle. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But how do we actually do it? How do we go from being someone who waits for motivation to someone who forges real, unshakable discipline? Well, let's get into the game plan. Here's the 3-step playbook. First, you start painfully small. Seriously, if your goal feels like this giant, unconquerable dragon, you just shrink it down. Shrink it until it's so small, so non-threatening, you can't possibly say no. We're talking one push-up, writing one single sentence. Then, step 2, you build exponential momentum. See, that first tiny win is like the first domino. It doesn't just add up, it multiplies. Success starts to build on itself geometrically. And finally, number 3, you create built belief. This isn't about chanting affirmations. This is about building a stack of undeniable proof, day by day, that you are who you say you are. I mean, this is the perfect example of built belief. A guy like David Goggins didn't just wake up one day with some kind of superhuman discipline. No way. He built it. He forged that identity, brick by painful brick, by doing the hard thing over and over. Every morning at 4 a.m., he wins that first battle of the day against that voice inside that wants to stay comfortable. That is how you build an undeniable belief in what you can do. Now, building the habits, that's one piece of the puzzle. But to make it all stick for the long haul, you need a deep psychological shift. You have to adopt what we call the uphill climb mindset. Most of us, and let's be honest here, when things get really tough, our default setting is this. It's a victim mentality. It's that little voice that starts whining. Ugh, this is so hard. This isn't fair. Poor me. That internal story, it absolutely guarantees you're going to fail because it just drains all your power away. Now, look at this. This is where you flip the entire script. Instead of seeing a huge challenge as a burden, you reframe it as an opportunity, a filter. You start telling yourself, good, this is so hard, no one else is going to be willing to do it. With this mindset, you actually start to get happier when things get tougher because you know it's separating you from the competition. It becomes a source of power, not pity. All right, we've busted the myth, we've laid out the strategy. Now comes the only part that actually matters. It's time to stop thinking and theorizing. It's time to execute the day. This isn't a suggestion, it's a command. That debate you have with yourself every single morning,
the one about hitting the snooze button or whether you should do the work now or later, it's over. The negotiation is done. Stop giving a microphone to the version of you who wants comfort over progress. That person is fired.
And here's one last crucial reframe. That period of intense focus, that time where you have to say no to things and just disappear to work on your craft, it's not a sacrifice. It's a gift. It's the sacred time you give yourself to become the person you want to be, far away from all the noise and distractions of the world. Let's be completely blunt here. The stakes could not be higher. Every single time you make an excuse, you are actively dismantling the future that you say you want. Excuses are the silent poison that will slowly but surely destroy every single one of your ambitions if you let them. So really, it all boils down to this moment. Right now. Not tomorrow, not when you feel like it. All the theory is over. The only question left that matters is the one right here. What will you get done today?